Thank you. So we come to the this panel discussion sections, and I think we can do it in a dialogue way. So I thank Prentice, Simon, and Tony. So I think we should introduce Toby. Toby, actually, I should give him more opportunity to talk about himself and also about, especially, I learned that you are the ambassador of the Tropical Museum of the Climate Change, and you are also a coordinator of this UN Sustainability Project. So maybe we invite you to give us about a 3 to 5 minutes briefing about your background and your current job, and how should we involve the youth, young entrepreneurs in achieving SDG from your perspective.
Thank you, Professor Low. My name is Toby, and I'm currently a research assistant with the Department of Curriculum and Instruction at CHK, and I'm also the network coordinator of the SDSN Youth Hong Kong. So, as Professor Low mentioned, I was an ambassador of the Tropical Museum of Climate Change. In fact, I was the first batch of student interns working in the museum. So that experience has equipped me with some knowledge in terms of environment, in public education. So after the program, and because SDSN Hong Kong was established in January this year, so with that opportunity, I applied for the role as a network coordinator in order to interact with those who have the same aspirations in the world. And currently our job is we are doing a launch of the SDSN Youth in December, and we are also rolling out a campaign which is called Move Humanity. So Move Humanity somehow can be also related to the business, because we want to fill the gap between those the financing and also resources in achieving SDGs in both rich countries and poor countries. Because as the speakers mentioned, those people from the rich countries, they're earning very large parts of GDP in the world, and we also would like to have those poor developing countries in order to have the resources in achieving the SDGs as well. So we are trying to move. By move, we mean that we mobilize the resources and also the manpower that we have around the world. And for humanity part, we want to show the world that we are actually caring about those people in need. So for our youth entrepreneurs, so when you do your social enterprise, you may want to address some of the SDGs to solve some SDGs problem in Hong Kong. But while you're doing locally, you may also think about it globally, because what you're addressing here in Hong Kong may also happen on the other side of the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Toby. Actually, today's theme is SDG, social enterprise, and young entrepreneurship. I think that's the focus of today's discussions. I have to make it clear that CSR as a model also applicable to social enterprise. So, and it hit to me that SDG, we can't approach it from a purely responsibility or from a moral appeal. So especially for the business sector and young entrepreneur, social enterprise still have to make profit, so it has to be sustainable. So I would like to ask all of you to express your idea. How should we establish the SDG and business operations, particularly social enterprise, so that our young entrepreneurs can start to think about this critical issue? Any one of you like to start to address this issue? Prentice?
First of all, I have to say, fair trade is not actually a social enterprise, but actually we get in touch with quite a lot of social enterprise, because first of all, the product using fair trade system or licensee is actually quite a lot of them is produced by social enterprise. And it's really important to move forward to SDG goal by just remember which SDG goal you would like to achieve. Because during daily operation of an business, of a social enterprise, there is really a lot of stuff you have to take care, like NPF, auditing, accounting. It's easy to make sure you forget what is your business really about. And you're doing a lot of different collaboration with other social enterprise. Again, it's easy for you to mix up you forget about your original goal. So I would say it's really important for every social enterprise to make a review every, let's say, 2 or 3 years, whether their business is still following the original pathway they would like to go forward. And this is, although I say it seems to be very easy, just make a review, but actually it's not. I can see a lot of social enterprise, they can't really afford this kind of time, this kind of resources to make a review on their own business operation. So I think that is quite a key to at least reserve some of the time and effort for social enterprise in your business plan for review.
Simon?
Yeah. So I think by the definition of social enterprise, you're already trying to fulfill a social responsibility or achieving social target. But I think the most difficult point about the question is how you're connecting your goal of a company to the SDG, because most of us will think SDG is too far from us, it's too international, the target are too big, it's national level, it's regional level. How what we are doing is actually connecting to the SDGs. Because back in my day and your age, we are still talking about MDG, now we are about SDG, but the nature is actually quite similar. And the level is actually quite similar also. So what especially OPCF has been doing is try to connect big problem, far away problem, to the local people. For example, plastic problem in the ocean. If you are trying to sell this into a local business, they will think, okay, I live in Ho Man Tin. How related the ocean is to me? Pacific Ocean is too far from me, right? Plastic, I'm quite environmentally friendly myself. And also my corporate, for example, I'm a restaurant owner, I'm trying to reduce plastic anyway. So, but still, if I ask them to contribute a lot of into the plastic problem, I still need to find a way to make sure in their business they feel what they're doing is actually helping the big problem. So we're trying to get their staff involved, and also in between we try to help them to measure what they are practicing in their everyday business is helping into the big picture. We try to give them the big picture of the international plastic problem. We try to tell them, so not just you, how many restaurants in Hong Kong are participating in reducing plastic? And we try to summarizing all the effort in Hong Kong and to tell them how important they are if they keep doing better. So give them the big picture and tell them their role in the big picture.
Tony, you are a business consultant. You should be in the best position to inform our young entrepreneurs.
Right. Yeah, actually, I don't have any new points. I just recapped some of the points just raised. I think for young entrepreneurs, you're setting up a social enterprise with a social mission. There are already I don't know how many goals related to the social side for SDG. So find one that's suitable for your social mission, and then conduct the review of your business on a regular basis. And like Professor said earlier, impact measurement is critical. Set the target, conduct the measurement, and then disclose the impact that your social enterprise is creating.
Toby, as a youth network coordinator in the SDSN Hong Kong, any more specific viewpoint you can provide?
Specific viewpoints. Okay, so I would say when you are when you're working with the SDGs, you will not just focus on one, because we have got 17 out there. When you're working on the SDGs, you try to find at least find some you want to work with because they are interrelated. So when you, for example, if you're working on no poverty, somehow you can also like solve the problem of zero hunger or can give them like some like quality education as well. So don't just limit yourself into only single SDG, but and also try to dig down into the targets of each SDG. We are not just focusing on the tagline of the SDG. Try to understand the target behind, and also don't underestimate yourself because there are lots of daily actions that you can do in order to achieve those SDG as well.
So I throw a more difficult question for them to advise our young entrepreneurs. We all know that making profit and doing good are quite a difficult question for the business to handle. Even more difficult for social enterprise because sometimes they are too emerged in the doing sustainability goals. So how should they balance with this profit making and achieving SDG and all sustainability? Because they are not charity organization. They still need the profit to sustain their long-term sustainability objectives. Anyone of you like to start? Think about it.
Well, I give a quick answer first. So I think you really need to embed the idea into your business. It's said easier than done. But you have a social mission, right? And you run your social enterprise on a daily basis, making money, and then actually also serving social missions. So this is kind of embedding into the business, right? So, just, also now identify the right appropriate SDGs in your business and just continue to do that.
I may actually argue to your question because I don't think fulfilling social responsibilities is always a cost to a company. As what I mentioned, because fulfilling SDG as a social enterprise can actually be, if you do it in a more funny way, can actually be a benefit for employee benefit and also a capacity building way, so that your company is earning in the other way but not spending money. So you just need to find the best way for your company to participate and also for your staff to participate.
I would put the question in the other way around, because I really believe that it's difficult for corporate to achieve sustainability in their own operation. But as I don't know how many of you is really going to start your business, but another role of us is actually investor and also consumer. We don't have to be that show our sympathy to corporate. We know it is tough, but we know it's what they have to do. Be harsher or be more difficult to those corporate who are not achieving their sustainability. And also give a really good approach for those corporate really doing good on this aspect. Like if you find a corporate who is really doing good on sustainability, be their loyal customer or even be their investor. On the other way around, if you find some of the corporate is not doing that good, try to cut off your investment, try to not buy their product, change to the corporate world, because we have only slightly more than 10 years to go to achieve all the SDG goal. You have to make change on your own daily life, on your consumption and investment behavior. Yeah, that is what we can do.
Toby?
For me, well, from business perspective, it's a little bit hard for me, but I'll try to answer. Don't think that the SDGs are actually a burden to your business, because it's something that we really have to do. And do remember that your customers, actually they are having a wand in their hand, because they get to choose, because they will get to determine your how you run your business. So if all of us, we're acting towards the SDGs, and the customers or consumers, they will notice about that, and they will also support us as well. So don't think that while doing SDGs you need to invest lots of resources or need to invest lots of time. We can start it by something that is simple, then progress, and then we can do some results, we can do some achievements based on that as well.
Yeah, I agree. Don't look at it from a conflicting viewpoint, how to mix SDG to the benefit of your company. I think that's the best time to do it. So I come to the more specific question before we open for the call. Yeah, Prentice, fair trade. You manage the demand supply side, but the demand side always is difficult here, because I remember that some 10 years ago, Starbucks was very defensive to subscribe to fair trade as their supply chain. How do you engage business to subscribe to the product from fair trade as a supply chain arrangement?
Yeah, let me share some really successful story and also one really big failure to you. Yeah, I guess fair trade provide corporate a really good selling point because fair trade product have a really good story. Everyone drink coffee. Everyone must have heard about Less Special, the capsule coffee. It's really high end, and two of their product line adopt fair trade product because it provides them a really good story to communicate with their customer. One of it is they start the whole pension fund system in Colombia because of the fair trade coffee and fair trade plantation they won there. They start a system and the government buy in the system, and then they start the whole retirement pension fund in Colombia, which is awesome. And they make use of this story to promote their product, fair trade product, to their customer. So fair trade, this is kind of advantage which fair trade have. But on the failure side is that even nowadays, actually Kit Kat, some of the Kit Kat is fair trade, but we fail to persuade them to fully adopt fair trade product in every Kit Kat. So that is one of our failures. One of the reasons is fair trade system still, this whole supply chain facing is not really that competitive because we might not be able to provide it all over the world, and we might not be able to provide enough quality of cocoa bean to such a big corporate like Kit Kat. So that is something we still have to improve in the future.
I think it's a challenge for the fair trade. Yeah, Simon. Yeah, do you find that the young entrepreneurs are more easy to involve in your environmental protection or marine life protection program than elder generation of management executive?
Well, first of all, they actually know more because they are more connected to the raw resources because they are often on Facebook, whereas some of you are already on Facebook right now. So, and also they are actually more adaptive to new ideas on encouraging the staff to participate and also understanding the whole issue. But you need to find a less traditional way. For example, you cannot give them a 10 minutes or even 5 minutes talk. They maybe more prefer infographics nowadays, short video, TED Talks, all this kind of new information to understand the whole issue.
Yeah, thank you. Tony, what do you think? I think you mentioned that many management executives, they don't know CSR or SDG well. Do you find there's such a changing of mindset among the younger generation of management or the young entrepreneurs?
Well, definitely. Well, all my staff are, very young, just graduate for a few years. So they have a big appetite for sustainability, and they are the one pushing me to do, more CSR, ESG, sustainability initiative within the company. So I'm, really proud of you guys, young people, and you guys are bringing the changes. So I'm not sure if I answered the question.
Yeah. Toby, you got more chance to get in touch with the younger generation of the young entrepreneurs there. Do you find that they are more receptive to this SDG and sustainability objectives?
I think they are quite receptive to the SDGs because actually for SDSN they will publish a report which is called the Youth Solutions Report every year. And inside the report, every year we see some like exciting ideas. Like yesterday, we've got a speaker here, and she found, which is Miss Bonnie Chu. She found it like sensational. So in fact, it was one of the highlighted solutions on the Youth Solutions Report 2017. So, in fact, if you come up with an exciting idea and you want to show it to the rest of the world, do it. And I'm sure, like the other side of the world, they would love to know what youth around the world, not just in Hong Kong, youth around the world, what initiatives they have in their mind. And so that is a really good thing for you to learn from each other and also to reflect on ourselves. So we are doing SDG, so what more we can do in the future and to not just only for Hong Kong, but make the world a better place.
Yeah, thank you. I share with all the speakers that we have higher hope on the younger generation than the elder generation for achieving SDG and sustainability. So I'd like to open the forum for audience participation. Please join us if you have any question or any comment you would like to make.
Thanks very much for your very inspiring conversation. I have a question around how incorporating like SDG goes into the business strategy. Is there any like successful like business case that show that after incorporating the business strategy, you can like drive the revenue or KPIs and to prove that make it very successful? I think if there's such a good story, it's very easy to persuade the business to adopt more like SDG goals. Thank you.
Tony, I think you have a lot of experience in the consultation business. To say some examples.
Thank you. I think if you want a good case study for SDG, you can go look at. I mean, in Hong Kong, we are really at the very beginning in embedding SDG into the disclosure requirements or reporting. But if you look at IKEA, they are really great. If you look at their reports, they are really embedding SDG into their operations. But also more answering to your question. Nowadays, we've got institutions such as MSCI and other ESG analysis company. They are issuing ratings, ESG ratings to listed companies, and from my feedback, the bosses are really anxious about those ratings, right? Because institutional investors will put in money, depends on the ratings. So there's a big drive and motivation for them to improve the ESG ratings so that more money focusing on ESG investing will put in the company. So I think that's the drive to help embed SDG sustainability into the business.
Maybe a quick example is for the real property developer like Hang Lung and Swire Pacific, they build environmental friendly buildings, and then you can protect the environment. At the same time, a lot of workers, employees, they like to work in this kind of environment, and also a lot of business companies, they would like to pay a higher rent for having this kind of green building as their office.
Okay. And the other example I can give you is about shoe brand. It's called Tom's. Anyone heard of Tom's story? Yeah. Tom started the whole business based on one very simple business model. When they sell one pair of shoes, they donate one pair of shoes to the developing country. So their business really grew up very fast. So I guess you can really begin with your business with a very simple idea, solving SDG goal, and really promote your business based on this story. And then it's a really successful case, and you can take into more details later on.
Sorry. Well, not exactly answering your question, but I can tell you there are many restaurants, they join our No Straw campaign because it can directly reduce their costs. Especially some delivery company is actually directly reducing their costs, but I'm not sure how much impact it's making to the whole company of reducing that part of the cost.
Yes, I remember one of the case. Do you still remember the 1 year in IKEA, there was like a storm of purchasing those doors because a particular toy door was really popular. And in fact, in IKEA, for each door they sold, they will also donate money to improve those, to improve the education in other countries. So I would say that it was quite successful because of the popularity of that toy. And so in which this is also something that when you do a business, you may also try to like think about like some donations to some of those organizations. So every dollar counts, and your donation can help change the future of those on the other side of the world.
Yeah, I think examples are many, but whether they are good enough to convince the business sector to go for this direction is debatable.
I have one question regarding to the organization, because you mentioned about the SDG needs to have cross-discipline or cross-departments collaboration, right? So from that perspective, I think there's a lot of communication issues among, an organization, or even if you want to implement a project. So can you share some of the, the better, structures? Who is leading or who's coordinating the SDG or the CSR project? And also, in the process of that, to achieve the impact, who's going to monitor and who is responsible for what kind of assessment? Thank you.
You have a lot of experience managing projects.
Yes, it depends on the scale of the company, definitely. So the biggest one we work with, SWI Group, is actually the easiest because they have a special team of people working for the whole corporations. So that would be easier part. The more difficult part is not SME, the big company, but not in multi-corporate scale. So you actually need to talk with several people in their companies, including the manager incorporating to connect to all the staff that will participate in making the action, and also the PR team. They also need to use the materials for them to do their own marketing also. In those kind of companies, you need to work with several people. But hopefully more companies will have their CSR team, then you can directly engage the manager.
So, Tony, how should we assess the impact? As a consultant, usually.
The expert professor. Assess the impact. I think you in-house you need to set up the mechanism. You need, because you have to measure before you can manage, right? So set up the mechanism and identify the KPI, and then have a dedicated personnel to do that, or do it via online monitoring system. Depends on the KPI, depends on the indicators that you want to assess, to monitor. Well, I think that's my input.
Okay, next, I know that we are now running out of time, but I would like to take the last questions. Any one of you like to make
Hi, this is Johnson. Thank you so much for the very inspiring discussion. So as discussed, the ESG reporting and SDG reporting is still at a very early stage of development in Hong Kong. So I wonder what you think would be the most challenging technical or practical challenges to corporates, like in doing the ESG or SDG reporting, and what do you think the government could do to facilitate the development of the whole process? Thank you.
And this, you just point out the difficulty already, but you should be able to address this.
I'm not the one writing ESG report. Yeah. So, but anyway, I try to give you just one simple answer, is how business consider their own information as confidential and which one is disclosable. I think this one is the biggest challenge because business tend to consider everything as confidential. Yeah. But in the other way around, they have to disclose more to let their customer, their investor, to understand what they are doing. But this kind of line, and it's hard to persuade the board member to disclose more. So I guess this is one of the most obvious challenge I can think of.
Yeah, just one point to add. I think it's also a multi-stakeholder approach. Government, investors, the business community, NGO, social enterprise. We all have a role. Academia. We all have a role to play. But if you ask me what is the most important drive, will be from the institutional investors or the asset owners. The pension funds, jockey club, yeah. So, if they are giving out investment mandate, this amount of money only to a fund manager, like for example BlackRock, you can only invest in ESG compliant companies. If we have more mandate like this, then we'll definitely push listed company to strive for better disclosure, performance, more target setting, faster to reach the SDG in 10 years' time. Yeah, that's my thought.
Toby, you have anything to add?
For me, actually, one of the obstacles is you want to, in fact, is how you evaluate the impact of your campaigning, because SDG again is something that's quite new, and when we're doing the campaigning, we also actually when we do the reporting, we also need to know how to report how well actually our campaign is in order to draw the public's attention. And what the government can do is actually the government can can take the lead in order to do that. And for example, in next month we are doing the movie manager campaign, and we also want institution and government to take the lead in order to show to the general public that actually everyone in the society is actually caring about the things. And so in order to lead the others who don't know it very much, in order to also to take action in order to towards the SDGs.
Simon, you can have the last remark.
Not much to add, but what our corporate partner has told us is they are lacking of a monitoring system in the months that you are not preparing the ESG report, like to monitor the progress for the annual ESG report.
So we know that we can't answer all the questions here. We don't have the answer either. We hope that our forum inspire you to think about young entrepreneurship, social cause, and sustainability issue. Of course, including how to make your business sustainable. So I'd like to take this opportunity to thank all the speakers for their contribution, and also thank the organizers for giving us this opportunity for all of us to get together and share our viewpoints. So we may continue our discussion after the formally ended these panel sections. Thank you all.